All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LOBoratory. I hope you all are having a fantastic day so far. Sorry, I'm just setting up the chat box and everything. So you guys are probably going to see a couple things pop across your screen. All right. So welcome to the LOBoratory. I am Holly Chantal, the president of the Land of Brand. And if you've never been in a LOBoratory before, we meet every Wednesday, 12 o'clock Eastern Time. This is a free webinar. It's a free community that you can be a part of. And every week we're talking about different topics in building your brand. So we talk about different experiments. We talk about real data and what we're doing in the Land of Brand, what's working, what's not working, things that are in progress. You can kind of see what's happening. We try to be very transparent with the different experiments that we run in our business and with our clients. There are replays, so if you sign up for reminders and you can't make it every week, that's totally cool. I send out a replay as well so you can always keep up to date. And we talk about a wide variety of topics because really your brand covers a lot of ground in everything from how you're running your business, the interactions that you're having with clients, what your message is, who you want to attract. There's a lot of different elements that go into building your brand. So if you have specific questions, you can email holly@thelandofbrand.com and I'll try to get them on the calendar for future webinars. Also, this is a new platform. That's why I'm kind of setting everything up still. So we just started using Zoom, and if you're unfamiliar with it, I want to say it's at the top of your screen. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. At the top of your screen, there should be like a little chat bubble. If you click on that, you guys can chat to each other. You can ask me questions, and I will answer those at the end. Or if I see them during, chances are I'll get distracted and answer them anyway. So today we're talking about how to scale your business while maintaining an intimate community. So really we're talking about building a boutique business, because I've heard from a few people that, with all the gurus selling these, large scale, create your memberships and your groups and your home study programs and build all these sales funnels and get all these JVs, they feel really overwhelmed, like they have to build this business that is just too big for them to manage, when what they really like is working with their clients one-on-one. Some people don't want to work with their clients one-on-one. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and kind of what you're hearing is the only way to grow a business and what other options may be out there that allow you to stay true to yourself and still grow the business of your dreams. So the abstract, which is basically, if you're in a lab, it's the introduction to what it is you're going to be doing in this experiment. So we're going to talk about why not every business needs to grow in quite the same way, even though the gurus might tell you otherwise. These 3 qualities and 1 bonus benefit of a boutique business. Real life numbers and examples from the Land of Brand. So I'm going to show you exactly how we've done this and what that's looked like and how that's affected our growth. And last but not least, how to position your brand as boutique. Because we're talking about branding, which is positioning is a huge piece of that. And positioning is really, why people should be hiring you, why should you be seen as boutique, and why should they be paying the premium prices for you. So we'll talk a little bit about how to kind of create that position for yourself in your market. So different goals for different foals. We all start our business for different reasons, and we have different interests and dreams in how we want that business to look as we're growing it. And those dreams and that vision changes often. A lot of times people get started and they are so gung-ho about working with clients that they just want to work with like 1 million clients a week. Then they get burned out and now they want to work with no clients or just the opposite. You find that you think you want to kind of stay behind the scenes and just have an information product business, but as you start building your business and getting to know people, you realize that you actually find a lot of joy in working directly with clients. So everyone's going to have different goals. Your goals might change depending on your experiences, where you are in your life, where you are in your business, and that kind of thing. And that's okay. So some of you are going to love working with people. You're going to thrive in that one-on-one environment, and you just can't even see your life without working with your clients. Others might have a little more trepidation, and you want to have a mix. So you want to work with people one-on-one, but you also want to create some leveraged programs that serve more people in less time, so that you can, kind of play both fields. And then others just want to have nothing to do with people, and that's okay too. You just want to sell and package your expertise. That particular bracket is probably not this probably is not the webinar for you, but you'll still get some really helpful information. It's always good to have this kind of information, but the real content that we're covering is for those first two brackets. Either you really love working with people and you don't want to stop, you don't want to create some like behemoth business that you're working with 100 people at a time, that kind of thing, or you want to have a mix of working with one-on-one and doing groups and some home studies and that kind of thing. All right. Just making sure. Okay. Making sure we're working all right. So if you can hear me, it would be if you could just type in the chat and just make sure that we're getting off to a good start. That would be great. All right, so startup to scale up. So when you start your business, most providers are working one-on-one. The reason for that is it's easier to get one-on-one clients than it is to sell a group or a home study, because if you're selling a group, then that means you have to get a group of clients all at once, versus if you're working with people one-on-one, you only need to get one client at a time. Makes it much easier when you're beginning. It also helps you hone your skills. So you start gaining confidence in what you're doing if it's not something that you've been doing before. A lot of people start coaching businesses, and what they're doing is based on their previous experience and work that they've done before, but the actual act of coaching and selling that type of service is a little bit foreign to them. So you gain experience working with one-on-one. And you start to build a reputation and a following as your clients begin to get results and start spreading the word about you. So this is a great place to start. And at some point, something's got to give, because as you start gaining traction, you will find that you can only take on so many one-on-one clients. And that really limits your growth, and you kind of make yourself a little bit crazy, because if your marketing is working and you're getting a lot of clients and now you're having to turn clients away, or your schedule is just overbooked, it can be hard to say no to people, especially when they're ready to hand you money and work with you. You just go a little nuts, and something's got to give, and you need to somehow scale your business and be able to kind of take back some of your time, and you grow your revenue. No matter what your goals are, typically one of them is to continue to grow the business. Though sometimes you're happy with where you are, and that's okay too. So you may have been told that scaling is all about leveraging yourself one-to-many. That's the only way to do it. If you want to make more money, you need to find ways to serve more people, which is usually in groups or some kind of packaged information product. And eventually, that your goal should be to take yourself completely out of the business so that it's kind of running itself and that you're no longer tied to the business. And all of this works for some people, but bigger isn't always better for everyone. Some people, the reason why you got in your business is because you love what you do. Why would you want to take yourself out of it? And like I said, these goals and your vision is going to change as you grow as a business owner, as your life changes. I mentioned recently I'm about to have my second kid. The first kid totally threw my business for a loop, changed completely the type of goals I had and the business model that I was going for, which is kind of what we're talking a little bit about today. I decided to go boutique. Before Evan, I was working on ramping and scaling, and I planned on being at 7 figures within the first 5 years of my business, and I was on track to do that. Now that's not even on my radar. That was more of it was like a glamorous achievement that I was going for, not necessarily something that really had meaning or that I wanted. What I want now is more of a boutique business, working with people that I really enjoy working with, only working, I only work 5 hours a day, so that I can spend time with my family, and my business is not my sole focus anymore. So that's just one example of how the life stage you're in may completely change how you think about your business. And why you start might not be the same reason you continue. So allow yourself to be flexible. So what is the answer to all of this? So you can grow a boutique business. So a boutique business is more exclusive. It's perceived as a higher end service. It allows you to keep intimacy with your clients while leveraging your time, and it positions you very highly in the marketplace. So we're talking about, instead of growing this big behemoth of a business and kind of like reaching as many people as possible, we're talking about building a very intimate community, working with only a few clients, having set parameters for who you're going to work with, and basically being very choosy about what it is you're doing. When you're more exclusive and choosy, you start elevating your profile. You start becoming the Gucci of your marketplace, the one that is maybe outside of some people's price point, but it's what they're, they know that you're going to be the creme de la creme, and that's what they want to aspire to work with. That's the type of business that boutique is creating. So what does this look like at the Landed Brand? So in 2012, which is when the Landed Brand launched, it was my second or third year in business, I don't remember. So we launched I rebranded as the Landed Brand. We did 50 websites that year. Holy smokes, like that was a lot of websites. And what's funny is that first year, we did the most websites. Every year after that, the number has gone down, but our revenue has gone up. Last year, we only did 13 websites. And part of that is also because I've added a few different services. So now we don't only do a whole website. For some people, we just do a logo. And then for many more people, I'm doing more coaching and strategizing and planning out the growth trajectory of their brand. So the services have changed a little bit. So I don't actually have, I should have written down the number of one-on-one clients I had last year, but it definitely was not 50. It was probably more like, including the websites, maybe 25. So we're not talking about a lot of clients here. But we're talking about multiple 6 figures of revenue from a much lower number of clients. And I do run group programs, but they're limited to 10 to 15 people. I've never run a really huge group. The reason for that is I feel like I'm not giving my total value if I'm not able to get my eyeballs on someone's business and their homework and making sure that they're getting the most out of what it is we're working on. It drives me bananas when people purchase a program and then they don't implement it, or it used to drive me bananas when I was first starting out and I was trying to follow the instructions of my coach, or I was going through some kind of training and I understood what I should be doing, but when I actually sat down to actually do it, that's where I would get lost and I would get stuck and I would get frustrated, and it was just a waste of money. So I am on a mission to make sure that that does not happen to my clients. So I keep my groups really small so that each person gets some individual attention and that I can make sure that they are moving forward. So basically, the effort they're putting in is matching the effort that I'm putting in. And in 2016, that number is going down. So 2016, the groups that we're going to be running this year, I'm probably only going to keep to 5 to 10 people, depending on what the topic is. And part of that's just because my time is a little bit different this year, and I want to make sure that I can create that intimate environment for our groups. I make it a point to answer all of my own emails. I have no intention of outsourcing that. A lot of people, I do have a team, so I have an assistant, and I have a developer, and I have a designer, and they all work with me, but I make it a point that I am the point of contact for my clients. I am the point of contact. If you go on my website, you email me, I will respond to you, because I want that interaction and that intimacy. And where I used to be, working on direct outreach and getting JVs and trying to get into those bigger launches, I'm not interested in that anymore. I only JV with people, and that means like I collaborate with them and we promote each other. And sometimes we don't, we just collaborate. And last year we created some really cool webinars with like Sean Driscoll, Lachlan Cotter, that were geared toward kind of both of our content and how they fit together, because it was fun and it served both of our audiences. And so anyone that I JV with is someone that I would want to, sit down and have a beer with, or drink tea with. If you're not into beer, that's okay too. But that's a much different mindset in who you're collaborating with than trying to get, the numbers, trying to get as many people as possible to promote for you, and going more for quantity versus like really quality leads. And revenue-wise, yes, growth isn't as fast as it probably could be. Like I said, in the first couple years, I was doubling revenue, some cases tripling revenue. So when I first started, it was in 2009. I was doubling and tripling revenue every year up until about 2013. That's when I had Eben, completely changed directions, decided to go more boutique, and started ramping down the number of clients I was taking. So revenue has either maintained or it's gone up very slightly each year since then versus doubling and tripling. But this is the interesting part. The profit margin has grown much more quickly. So I'm making much more now personally than I was a couple years ago, even when that revenue was kind of, the actual gross revenue was much higher. So there's a different way of looking at your business. Again, quality over quantity. Do you want to work with less clients and make more money yourself? Or do you want to build a bigger business that might have a little bit more overhead, and there's costs associated with both types of business models. So it's all about what you want to create. So what I could have done is I could have built a bigger team to outsource websites so we could handle more projects. So if I in 2013 when things shifted, I could have just changed and hired more people to be able to handle more stuff. I could have created larger groups at lower price points so that I could get more people in the room. I could have focused more on JV launches and large-scale marketing, so finding bigger JV partners, finding more JV partners, doing more organized product launches, those kinds of things. And I could have built a ton of automated sales funnels and then just marketed the crap out of them. So like just running JV campaigns, content campaigns, that kind of thing. But those aren't where my joy lies. Doing, just creating content and just marketing, I like more the strategy side of things. I like planning and working with clients and being more open and communicative with my community versus just going for numbers. I don't want to JV with people that I don't have a personal relationship with just because they have a big list. There's decisions in how you run your business that you want to make sure are staying true to you. And I just want to be clear that there's no right or wrong here. There's nothing wrong with going, getting JV partners because they have a big list, or because you want to be a part of those. You probably see the big higher level launches. There's nothing wrong with that approach. It's all about what is true for you and what you want to create, what type of business you want to have. It's really, the sky is the limit for you. So what's important is that you understand what is important to you and design your business plan and your business model around making that happen, which, as I said, was kind of the turning point for me in 2013, was I was totally thrown for a loop with the new baby, and I had to sit down and completely rethink my business and decide what was important to me. were my dreams and my goals in alignment with what I wanted now, and made all of these different shifts. And 2013 was kind of a restructuring year. And each year's had its kind of own theme. Like 2013 was, oh crap, what's going on. 2014 was like, so 2013 was like restructuring. 2014 was rebuilding. 2015 was restabilizing. And then now that we're stable and this business model that I have is like what I want, now it's time to start scaling and creating more. So why does the math work? So how can I be making more money even though my revenue, so like making more money personally, even though my revenue hasn't grown very much in the last 2 years? And the answer is higher prices and less fat. So I've consistently raised our prices every year for the different services we have. We are priced probably at the higher, probably not the highest end of the market. We're probably like 75% as far as other branding experts and designers and that kind of thing. So we're positioning ourselves at the higher end of the market as far as pricing goes. And less fat because I'm not outsourcing a lot to teams. I'm not investing a lot of money in places that isn't necessarily going to have a big return. Like I've really trimmed the fat and grown a really lean business and gotten rid of a lot of things so that the profit margin has changed. For instance, doing less websites, that's a huge, websites are expensive to create. So doing less of those and doing more coaching, right there, that's a huge difference in profit margin. So our one-to-one services have having the how we position, or how I position having the higher price point and having the more boutique feel to our services is that having a direct attention on your business is highly valuable. Given that I've created over 100 brands at this point, and I've been studying branding for, gosh, it's been 7 years now. Like I've built a reputation, a body of knowledge. I have, information that not everyone's going to have. So it's really valuable to have me laser focused on your business, because even just small tweaks. For instance, we're working on someone's brand right now, and after our first conversation, she went out and sold, her packages for twice as much as she had been selling them before. Another client had a $40,000 month before we even started working on the actual brand and implementation. So having that kind of track record allows you to position yourself at a higher price point. Less people can afford it, which means you take on less projects, so that's less fat, less time being consumed, but more attention from my clients. And then our branding level is of the highest level in the industry. That's just a simple statement. I can, like, visually, my designer that works with me, he works with Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies, and the level of design and visual identity knowledge that he brings is like taking these multi-million-dollar companies and we're bringing it to the small business level. So that's a big uniqueness factor right there. In our group programs, the reason why those can be positioned at a higher price point is because they're intimate, they're small. That means you get more direct attention. It's almost like working with me one-on-one. To be honest, I give a lot of really targeted feedback, targeted information based on that person's business. You need to book less people to make the same revenue, so they're actually easier to fill. And I create a much deeper connection with my participants. So instead of just being this person that's delivering information, you're not getting a lot of interaction, I get to know each of those participants. I get to know their business. They get to ask me questions. And this leads into more one-on-one services. It leads into clients staying with us. Some of the people in our group programs have been through 2 or 3 different programs with us because of this type of relationship and the community that we create. So in short, the 3 qualities of a boutique business is intimacy, exclusivity, and high value, high profile in your marketplace. And then the one boutique benefit would be, or the bonus benefit would be that they're also lean. You can usually make a higher profit margin with a boutique business versus creating this massive behemoth that's scaling and that you're having to manage a lot of different team members and a lot of different aspects to the business. I try to, I want to keep things small and manageable for me, while also, creating the income and the lifestyle that I really want. So how do you create these? So when I say these, I'm talking about these 3 things. So how do we, or 4 things. How do you do this? So intimacy, you create that with your personality. So that means authentically sharing with your community, letting them see who you are, positioning yourself as an expert, creating a high-touch atmosphere. So talking about being able to email me and I will respond to you, like creating that kind of awareness. If you are on my newsletter list, then I share what's going on in my life quite often. I'll tell you, what's experience that I'm having or trips that I'm going on or that kind of thing. Or I'll tell you, what's working and not working in the business. That's what the LOBoratory is all about. We've had some calls where I will tell you, walk you step by step through a completely failed product launch. So being that authentic and that real with people creates a level of intimacy versus being positioned as the hard to reach guru or the exclusivity in the sense of can't think of the word right now. It's a really simple word, but I cannot think of it. What is it? I'm sure it'll come to me right after the call. But I think you guys get the gist. So being really authentic and creating the intimacy with your audience. Exclusivity really comes from setting expectations. So this is all about positioning. So talking about how limited your programs are and why. So when we sell a group program and there's only 10 people in it, I make it very clear that there are only 10 spots, and here is why. Because I want to give each and every person my individual attention, and I want to make sure that I can get my hands into their business and have the time to really focus on them during the duration of that group. That setting that expectation creates a level of exclusivity, a level of urgency, and it also positions you, the participants understand that is a higher value product. It also creates barriers that only allows the right people in. So price point is a barrier in one way. Another way is, you have to have an application, fill out an application in order to get a consultation with me, because I need to know kind of what's going on in your business and what we're going to talk about before I'm going to schedule a call with you, because I don't have time, not that I don't want to, I don't have time to get on the phone just to talk to someone or just to answer questions. That's what my programs are for, or what Facebook is for, or these little LOBoratory calls are for. I'm going to be launching a membership in the next few months, and the price point is going to be very low, so that's not going to be the barrier. But I'm only going to allow a certain number of people in at a time. There's only going to be this is going to be a certain type of business owner, and there's going to be a level of exclusivity in a different sense. Third, you position your value with your brand. So being perceived at a higher value in your market is all about positioning, and that has to do with your brand. So your message, what you stand for, what you were put on this earth to do needs to be loud and clear. It needs to be strong. People need to resonate with it. They need to follow it. They want to take up arms with you. that will position you as a very high value service provider. And again, talk about why the value is worth the price. I was just talking about, and it might sound like I'm bragging, and that's not my intention, but talking about how our branding services are the highest level in the industry, that we're taking multi-million-dollar strategies and bringing it to the small business level. Not everyone can say that. So what is it that makes you different? Why is your service more something that should be highly valued? And then the fourth, which I said was the bonus benefit, it might not be true for everyone's type of business, but trimming the fat and keeping your company lean can be done probably more easily with a boutique business. And what's important to make that happen is to define what is important to you, define what type of business you want to create, and sticking to it, and creating the business that is right for you. So don't focus on all of these different strategies. Don't focus on purchasing all of these different programs and tools, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because you feel like you need to, or you feel like someone told you to, if it doesn't jive with what it is the goals you have in your business. I think a lot of times we create a lot of bloat in our businesses by focusing on things that, we're focusing on a lot of different things versus really focusing on what's important to us. So conclusions, boutique might not be for everyone, but it's a way to grow your business while maintaining an intimate relationship with clients. So if you're someone that does not want to give up that one-to-one interaction, you don't have to. Boutique does not mean you can't have larger programs. So this membership that I'm talking about, that I'm not going to keep that limited to 10 people. That would be silly. So in the end, there might end up being a couple hundred people in that program. I'd like to grow it slowly throughout the years. But the program is based more on intimacy, exclusivity, and value. It still makes it boutique. Growing your business does not always mean more or bigger is better. You decide what you want to create based on what's important to you, and your brand will make that come to life. So your brand is how you position what it is you want to create. This is like a big tenet at the Land of Brand, and what I completely geek out about working with people on is, if you have a vision for what type of business you want to create, what kind of lifestyle you want to create, what it is you want to do, but you don't know how to make that happen, your brand is the key. It's all about how you position it, what the messaging is, the type of atmosphere you create, the type of people you want to attract, like how you go about doing all of that is what's going to bring that dream to life. So that, if you're kind of stuck there, that's really the key, and that's really what we do. So next week, we're going to be talking about what is your homepage for? And I'm going to share with you some controversial ideas that I'm testing in the Land of Brand. We're currently currently working on the website. And our homepage is going to be a little bit different than what you're probably seeing with other people in our industry. So in the coaching services industry, consulting, speakers, that kind of thing. So I'm kind of playing with some theories about how homepage is structured and what the real purpose is. That goes against a lot of what I've been teaching over the last few years. So it should be interesting. But basically next week I'm going to share with you those theories, those ideas. I'd love to get your take on things. What your opinion is, if you think it's going to work or not, and then after the website launches, maybe we'll do a kind of revisit this topic and see if my theories actually worked, if my hypothesis was true. If you have any topics that you would like to see, you can email holly@thelandofbrand.com. I will be putting together the calendar for April shortly. And otherwise, I don't see any questions in the chat. So I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week, and I will talk to you next Wednesday. Bye.